Show you a 1-minute video clip in which I'm going to have you do a count. With an audience this size, it's a very interesting phenomenon. Here's what it looks like. Okay, so there's 6 students, 3 white shirts, 3 black shirts. There's 2 basketballs, they're passing them back and forth. Your task is to count the number of passes in 1 minute between the white-shirted students. Number of passes, they're going to be moving around, so it's complex. I want to show it to you. Number of passes by the white-shirted students in 1 minute. Those of you that have seen this, don't blurt out the answer, but it's a very interesting effect where it turns out there's a gender differences on attention to this kind of detail with a lot of action going on. I won't tell you which gender is more accurate than the other, but we'll see at the end. Okay, so here we go. Okay, how many did you get? 18, 17, 13, okay, that's a clever spread. Alright, good. Anybody see anything unusual? Show of hands, anything really unusual in this tape. About half of you. So let me show it to you again. This time, don't count the passes. You're just watching globally what this looks like. How many not see a guy in an H suit? How many of you saw the gorilla the first time? Honestly now. Okay. Actually, that's about right. This is Dan Simon's research in Indiana. It's called perceptual blindness, attention blindness, where you're attending to one task and miss really obvious things. So, cognitively, we are trying to you by giving you a detailed task. I upped the ante by saying one gender was better than the other. By the way, there's no gender difference. And this is a huge problem, and not just dealing with the paranormal and stuff, but all of science. We're primed to look for certain data to fit our theories. We can't help.
Okay, so were you surprised to see that there was a gorilla that was walking through the middle of the stage? It's funny because I've shown this many times, and the majority, all of the times, the majority of the people never see it. And I guess the whole purpose of the exercise is to show that when you're an eyewitness, you're just walking down the street doing what you want to do. You're not looking for a gorilla, or you're not looking for a crime, or you're not looking for whatever. And just to show you how much your perception is affected and what you see, maybe you don't see everything you think you see. I mean, we're in the middle of a presentation talking about eyewitness identification, and I showed you a video with a gorilla walking through it, and the majority of people never saw it until we got you to look again. And the reason you were distracted was because he asked you to count the number of passes. So it's just like in your daily life, you're doing something else. You're not sitting there waiting for the crime to happen. So thank you. How do we know we make mistakes? I'm going to talk a little bit about some anecdotal evidence and some empirical evidence. So the anecdotal evidence. Oh, this is a clicker question, so let's hope it works. So now I'm going to ask you to take the clickers. Don't press anything yet until I say okay. So the question is, but don't press anything. Eyewitness identification is the leading cause of wrongful convictions in which countries? So 1, the United States. Press 2 for Canada, 3 for England, or 4 for all of the above. So press now and let's see if it works.
¿Tenemos que presionar?
¿Ahora apretamos?
Yep. Vamos.
1.
No, falta si creas tú de lo que quieras.
¿Hacia dónde?
Primero el 1.
No,
No, como quieras. Un instructivo. una y aprietan el 1, el 2, los que tienen el 2.
Okay, so now we have our clicker expert.
No sirvió, pero puedes saber que sale.
No salió, ya apreté y no salió nada.
So how many, we're going to ask you to raise your hand now. For number one, how many people think it's number one?
Ay, yo también levanto.
Okay, number two. Mike has more confidence in us than I should. Number three. And more confidence in England than they should. And number four.
Mira, lo que hace. Capcios de esa prueba.
So 20 people think it's the US, 1 thinks it's Canada, 3 think it's England, and 4 think it's all of the above. And the answer is correct, all of the above.
Siempre, o sea, sí, porque capcioso.
How serious wrongful convictions and eyewitness evidence is in all of these countries. It's probably in others as well, but in Canada, the US, and England, eyewitness identification is the leading cause of wrongful convictions. So I'm going to talk about a couple of cases in Canada and the US. I don't know if any of you have heard of the Jennifer Thompson case. Basically, Jennifer was a college student. A man broke into her apartment and assaulted her. At the time, she said she studied him with great determination because she wanted to be able to, she knew what was happening, and she wanted to be able to identify this guy. She wanted him to pay for what he was doing to her. So she talks about how she took a great time looking at him. She went to the police station, she did up a composite, and days later, she selected a gentleman by the name of Ronald Cotton from a police lineup, a live lineup. She said, I was sure I knew I picked the right guy. He was the guy. As a result, Ronald Cotton spent 11 years in jail. And notwithstanding her confidence, DNA evidence later showed that she was wrong. Since that time, after he spent his time in jail, this is very hard to believe, but both Jennifer and Ronald Cotton now work together to try to help all the problems with eyewitness identification. They are now a team, and they travel around doing presentations.
Está compensando.
Hard to imagine. But that's how much they believe that there are problems with eyewitness